Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn of Z's, your sip of tea, not coffee today. No caffeine allowed on the cleanse. It hurt me on the first cleanse, but second one's pretty much easy. This is day 9. Oh, 21 days. How easy is that? Smoothie week. We had gazpacho smoothie last night. It helps to be married to like an expert chef. But hey, good on all you guys who are doing it. I hear over 200 people are still going strong. Keep it up. Stay on the website. Stay in touch with Amy on Telegram. She'll walk you through any recipe issues, any psychological freakouts, which we all have on this stuff. So it's fun. This is not a diet. It's not meant to, be a lifestyle for your whole life. Well, you can if you want, but I'm choosing to do this a few times a year, and and then the rest of the time I can enjoy. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'm gonna enjoy myself absolutely. I love wine and I love food, and I love the social interaction mostly of going out to dinner with friends and having barbecues and all that fun stuff that we associate with the booze. And the food is actually a social interaction that is amazing. Food doesn't taste as good when you're sitting there all alone in your house and eating your dinner. It tastes better because the experience is better. And that gets to vibration again, sharing with people. And this is a vibrational cleanse. We're ingesting the vibration of these foods to make us feel amazing. I absolutely, in the last couple of days, I felt even better than I did when I lost 25 pounds in the first cleanse. I feel better now. Um, I'm also doing a couple other things, but I think it's mainly the cleanse. I feel rock solid. So speaking of rock solid, I was talking to my son, my youngest son, and he was talking about gold mining. So we decided we live literally 100 miles from some of the richest gold country in the world. Yeah, a lot of it's off limits because the government has locked up 41% of the land in federal government locked up 41% of the land in California. Most people don't know that. When California says we're going to secede from the union, well, don't touch the 41% of California that belongs to the federal government, or they'll bring the army in. Why? Because that's where all the gold is. That's where the minerals are. That's what they do. The United States natural resource policy since the 1920s has been to lock everything up. All the oil we find in the ground, all the gold, all the coal, all the silver, everything gets locked up in national parks, desert wildlife preserves, military bases, until we need them. That was the key. Until we need them. As long as people are accepting this unbacked fiat bullshit money, we're going to give it to them. Here you go. Send us more oil. Here's a couple $1 trillion of this stuff that we don't even make it with paper anymore. We put a zero at the end of a billion to make 10 billion. It is insane what we're getting away with. But that was always the plan. Inflate the money supply to infinity, crash the system, and start fresh. That's where I think we are. I have on the Patreon channel and on Road to Ruta Private Road, I have posted when I think this thing is going to go down and why. That's the key. Anybody can say, oh, it's going down this day. Do I think it's going to happen that day? The odds are very low that anybody in the entire world could predict the day unless it was planned. If the day was planned, yes, people know what the day is. And there are clues that people do know what the day is. So, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. You probably won't even see anything on that day. But behind the scenes, with the financial system, you'll see a locking up of the grid. Remember, everything is controlled via computers and derivatives today, which has made it abundantly easy to control the system since the 1960s when Alan Greenspan invented the first computer programs to create the financial system. Yes, Alan Greenspan created the financial system. Not only him, but he was one of the main guys. He screwed up also. He only put 2 digits instead of 4 for the Y2K problem, but he fixed that when he was head of the Fed. And he even blames himself in the book. So people who don't understand who Alan Greenspan is, I get it all the time. Oh, what do you mean Alan Greenspan's a bad guy? But he's not a bad guy. I think he made a mistake in controlling the system from the 70s with these computer programs all the way till today. Computer programs control the system. Greenspan isn't at the helm, but the Exchange Stabilization Fund is, the Fed New York is, and the Treasury is. The bottom of the basement of the Treasury is a huge computer trading floor. Did anybody know that? You're not allowed to go there. They've shown some pictures of it. I've got some pictures of it. Absolutely. That's how you control the system. Computer trades back and forth. Now, if you want to destroy the system, you turn the computers against each other and have them fight each other, and that's what's coming. My good friend, and someone I pray for every day, Dick Allgaier, I'm trying to suck all the badness out of it, all his bad thoughts. He's very much a fear guy. He's consumed by the fear of the bad guys taking over our lives. So he's succumbed to that fear. He says, "Oh, there's no way we can get out of it. Bad guys will win no matter what." No. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Those were some very important words. I think Dick needs to embrace them. So every day I pray for Dick Allgaier in my morning ritual. Show Dick the light. Give him power to know that he can't overthrow these people. He doesn't like them. He just thinks we're powerless. And I am exactly the opposite. I think we have all the power. All we have to do is exercise that power. And we will find out. And I think by the Litecoin Summit Ruta Party, where we're going to be up on stage playing guitar and having fun, Dick will come to see the light by then. That's my hope. Anyway, I'm going to run through Zero Hedge because I was looking at Zero Hedge this morning. I usually look at Zero Hedge to see if there's anything exciting. Every single thing on here is about the destruction of our system. The road to Ruta style, the crashing of the monetary system, the breakdown of government. Let's look and see what we got. I'll just go through a few of them. They're coming for Biden. 2020 Democrats sharpen knives ahead of second debate. Trump is brilliant. He's probably the smartest guy in America right now. Why? Because he's got like 40 aces up each sleeve that he can pull out at any time he wants, given any situation. Because he's busting criminals. That's why Mueller had such a hard time in that hearing, is because he was on the side of wrong. He was on the side of cover up. He can't talk because he would have to explain why he didn't follow up on everything that was so important in that investigation. So he couldn't say a word. Everybody thought he was a bumbling idiot. No, he just knew he'd get nailed and grilled if he said the truth. He couldn't speak the truth. It's funny when you go to these congressional hearings. When they say, "I don't remember," "I can't talk about that," or anything like that, all it means is they're trying to lie. The truth, everybody remembers the truth. If you can't recall, Hillary Clinton, "I can't recall, I can't recall, I can't recall." If you can't recall, it means you're lying. Because you remember the truth. The truth is easy to remember. So in this, so Trump has got it locked no matter what happens, but the Democrats are about to destroy their frontrunner and alienate a large chunk of the Democratic Party, and they're just going to go to someone else, either Trump or a third party, because all the Democrats on stage are completely controlled by the leftist deep state. So yes, Biden is easy to pick apart. He is knee-deep in the criminality. His son, Hunter Biden, knee-deep in the criminality. $20 million deal or something that he got. That's nothing compared to, wait till the stuff comes out about Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein and Joe Biden. Joe Biden and Obama and Epstein and the pedophile rings. That is going to really... Trump has that up his sleeve. He's got both sleeves packed with aces. He's a cheater. He's got both sleeves packed with aces. So here's something interesting that I've been talking about for over 10 years, is the Fed will fall on its own sword. I mean, the Fed wrote these Road to Ruta comic books. They wrote the teacher's guide to the Road to Ruta. They know exactly what to do in the end. In the end, they fall on their own sword. They print money, boom, and tell the world they're printing money like it's going out of style. That's fallen on their own sword. They will kill themselves, and they know it. That was always the plan. Print as much money as possible. Use it to build your roads, to build your houses, to build your bridges. My friend Snippy, God love him. I love Snippy. he was talking about the outrageous amount of debt these huge companies have. And going, why would they, this company makes billions of dollars. Why would they have massive amounts of debt? Well, that's very simple if you come from that world, which I did. I worked for a finance company, a leveraged lending company. I worked for GE Capital. I worked for a company called GATX. We owned half the rail cars in the world. Those companies, what they do is borrow money to lend money and to invest in certain things. Like a leasing company will invest in assets. And why do they do that? Because they get money cheaper because they're a AAA rated company. You get really cheap money. You can borrow at like 2%. And then if you're a good investor or a lessor in a leasing company, you get to write off the depreciation of the asset. You can invest easily at 6, 7, 8%. So you're making that spread. So yes, huge advantage to be a mega big rich company and take out loans. Go into debt massively because you're only paying 2% and your average investment kicks out 6, 7, 8%. Where I was at GATX at the end, our division was kicking out like 12, 13%. But we weren't a AAA. I think we were a triple B rated company, so we borrowed it. It was more like 5 or 6% at the time. This was a while ago, but we were making 7, 8%. So the more you borrow and you can lend out, or expand your company and things like that. Or if you're a bank where you get practically free money, you just invest in U.S. Treasuries and then you make the spread. So yeah, borrowing that was the whole idea. But then here's the problem. The flip side of that is that if the assets you invest in go down, if the places you put the money start returning negative yield to what you borrowed at, then you're screwed. Then everything implodes. That's why leverage lending is so risky. Great reward on the upside. The downside is brutal. And we saw it almost in 2008. 2008 is nothing compared to what's happening, what's about to happen. So, Federal Reserve is gambling with the global economy. Quote, Fed feels the need to come in and save the day like Superman. But all the Fed is going to do is encourage more corporate debt. Again, cheaper the money, more corporations are going to borrow that money to refinance old debt, but mainly to invest in their business. And invest in, if you're a leveraged lending company, you get to invest more because you got to make a bigger amount of money based on the percentage of what you borrow and what you lend at. And that's the thing. The cheaper the money, the easier it is for people to get it. You have more risky companies going in, and it's the risky ones at the fringes that really screw you up. That's what's going to really screw up Deutsche Bank and the derivative thing. Not only the 49 trillion in Deutsche Bank derivatives, but it's the little company counterparties all down the line. Joe Schmo Bank from Podunk, Mississippi is attached to one of those Deutsche Bank derivatives. And they don't have any money. All they're doing is borrowing this cheap money that the Fed gives them. All right? I hope that makes sense. Another part of the Road to Ruta, and a big part of Alan Greenspan's dissertation from his what do they call it? Not dissertation. Is it? Doctorate, dissertation. When he was getting his doctorate degree, he did write a paper, and he actually turned it in. There's only 2 copies in the world. One copy Greenspan has, and one copy the bank or the library in New York had, and then they locked it up right before he became the Fed chairman in '87. It could have been Columbia University. I don't remember where it was somewhere. Anyway, Barron's got a hold of it, read it, and could only release little bits and pieces. What they released was about the housing crash, how Greenspan had predicted it. What they didn't release was the entire Road to Ruta theory. The paper was called, I don't have backup on this, I believe it was called The Road to Ruta. That's where it originally came from, that name. And the whole idea, create as much money as possible, get massive debt all over the world, which has happened, then pull the plug and explode the system. People say to me, "Oh, Greenspan's not a hero. He completely had loose monetary policy, went against everything he talked about in his thesis in his paper on gold and economic freedom in the 1960s." Absolutely, based on an economic model called On the Road to the Golden Age, which is what Ruda wrote in The Sand. It said the best way to get back to a gold system is to destroy the old system. And there you have it. Then things changed when Bitcoin came out. Remember when Bitcoin was released? 2 months after the September 2008 crash. It was ready. It was on the shelf. Bitcoin was ready. It was put together by a group of people. I think I know who that group is. Greenspan is one of the main contributors, obviously. People say, "Oh, what do you mean you didn't invent Bitcoin? What are you talking about?" Well, if it was a group, who is the most likely person on planet Earth to be involved in the monetary system, a high-level monetary person, to be involved with computer programming for the last 50 years? There's nobody better at computer programming than Alan Greenspan at that time. That's why they put him at the head of the Fed. He invented the programs that invented the financial monetary system. It's not like he stopped computer programming after he invented the monetary system. People just don't, they haven't done their homework on Greenspan. And it's not something you're going to pick up his book and read. You can read into it. He does talk about computers a little bit, not very much at all. But computers has been his entire life. Again, he invented the monetary system. His best friend, John Kimeny, invented BASIC, the first shareable computer programming language. Anyway, I've proven that point a million times. I don't need to prove it again. So home prices, yes, part of the crash is going to be home prices. Martin Armstrong has home prices dropping into 2035. So we got another 15 years of price drops. Probably, I would assume 80 or 90% of their current value. Why? Because when the banks go down, who can borrow for a house? Nobody. Not one person. You can use cash to buy a house because there's no banks. There's no leverage lending anymore. People can't risk the money to give to you to buy a house because that price of the house is crashing. And it's a huge part of the balance sheet, along with student debt and all that. So everything is coming together at the same time. And if you go to Patreon or the private road, you can find out when I might take it. All right. Yes. Boris is going to make the UK leave the EU. Absolutely. He's the Trump of the UK, which is awesome. All right. Bank of Japan does nothing, vows to achieve price stability. It's all talk. Blah, blah, blah. That's what Greenspan was real good at. Talk. Blah, blah, blah. Not saying anything. Behind the scenes, it's rigging every market. But talk. Blah, blah, blah. And Trump is doing his part, of course. As trade talks begin, Trump lashes out at angry China and tweets Trump. Another reason. Alan Greenspan wrote a FT article, Financial Times article, I think it was around 2010, 2011, about the end of globalization. Would destroy everything on the financial world. Everything. And what's Trump doing? Pushing for the end of globalization. The largest part of globalization is trade with the US and China. That's where we get all our goods made. What happens if China shuts their doors to us? We get to make our own stuff. But the banks go down, every single one of them. Again, they're all interlinked. It could be any of these triggers, truthfully. And people say, "No, Dick Allgary, no, they'll never go down. There'll never be a crash." We'll find out. If there's no crash, there's no solving of the problem. Even my best friends out there, Bitcoin Ben and Cliff High, are saying no crash, no crash. Then no problem is solved. Well, Cliff's from his data and Ben's from his guys. But you can't solve a problem. We're going to be reading the same stuff for the next 10 years. And The middle class will be destroyed. The lower class will be destroyed. The ultra rich will get richer, and then we lose power. We lose our one chance to take back our sovereignty. If this thing gets delayed for another 10, 20, 30 years, which is what will happen if the bad guys stay in power, if they're able to bail it out, we're looking 10, 20, 30 years, it's over. Kiss it goodbye. This is our one chance. And everything is lined up so that it is going to happen organically. That was the key to what Greenspan did in the late 90s by not regulating derivatives. Put that nuclear bomb in the middle of the global economic system. And that's the derivative bubble. Because it will literally wipe out everything. And then we start fresh. Global stock slide as traders await Fed cut. Pound crash accelerates. The Fed's got to be to blame, so I think they will cut, and I think it'll be blamed. You're the Fed. You're bad. You caused this crash because you cut rates, because the rich asked you to. I expect we'll see a bump like this, and good night, sweetheart. And then we'll have, obviously, if the banks go down, there is no stock exchanges. There is no bond market. There is no oil market. There are no crypto markets. That's why you have to keep your assets in your own possession, 100%. All right, what else? Oh, I love this one. Rand Paul going after the crazy Ilhan Omar. Bravo, Rand Paul. I wish more Congress people had guts like Rand Paul. After Rand Paul offers to buy a ticket to Somalia, Ilhan Omar supports a violent attack. We need to root her out. First of all, there's like a list of crimes she's committed. She married her brother. she got illegal entrance. She's got illegal student loans. She's got all kinds of things. You know, you can go down the list. I read it once, and then, I mean, there's lawsuits going right now. Get her out. AOC is just, she was an actress. She was a waitress who applied for a part to work in Congress. She's being controlled by the people behind her. She's dumb. She's really dumb. She's like stupid dumb. I don't know. The mass delusion of what's going on right now. We need a lot of truth and honesty. We need to rip this thing apart. Truth and honesty has to prevail. And it's coming. Something is coming. You can feel it. I use information to back up my feelings to kind of pinpoint when and where. It'll be interesting. I mean, I feel like probably 30-40% chance something happens on that day, which means in actuality maybe there's a 1 or 2% chance. But of any days, all the days between now and the next 5 years, if there's any day, if anything's going to happen that it should happen, it would be this day. We'll find out soon enough, very soon. Okay, so I'm going out and do some gold mining right now. Did I talk about that at the beginning? Yes, we are in gold country, Jamestown, and right below Jamestown, and going out mining with Amy and my son Toby, and we have metal detectors. Now, metal detecting has come a long way. Everybody's just forgot about gold, and there's gold lying all over the place around here. I'm not saying we're going to find anything. The odds of us finding it are zero, but the metal detector technology has increased, so we're going to find out. And I bought some metal detectors. Also, the next time I go on an adventure with Snippy, I got me some metal detectors. I could have to figure out how to get them there. Now I'll put in my music shipping stuff. Oh, by the way, August 17th coming up in 2.5, 3 weeks. St. Louis, big show, big party, big event with Bitcoin Ben. Come support Ben. Come support the charity. Listen to music. I'll be rocking out. I'm trying to write a new song while I'm here. We'll see what happens and see if it flies. I will play it at the Bitcoin Ben event on August 17th in St. Louis. So come check us out. That's it right now. We're going to a gold mining, old school gold mining shop We need a little more equipment. And then we're going to hit the streams and hit the fields, and there's a couple ghost towns. I'm more interested in finding relics, like an old revolver or something from the 1800s. That would be really cool. But this place, there's nobody around here, and gold has just been forgotten. Great, that's perfect. It's more for us, right? So go out there and get your metal detector and hit the fields, hit the slopes, because there's a lot underneath your feet that they don't want you to know. Anyway, BixWeirRoadRunner.com. Talk to you later.